What's up, everybody? It is time for our episode 4 review of Run the World. Hopefully, by now you checked out our previous reviews and continue to mess with us as we continue to knock out this season 1 of this show. This episode is titled I Love Harlem. And my quick initial thoughts before we get into this episode is that I didn't like this episode as much as I liked the previous episode, but I kind of feel like this episode was like a love letter to the residents of Harlem. It seemed to be a lot of the aesthetics and the culture of this part of New York City. Yeah. That's why we got the club, the nightlife scene, the bar scene, then the park and people playing in the high rises and all that. Like all the things you kind of see when you've been in Harlem. If you've been in Harlem or if you got family in Harlem, then this is not the most authentic portrayal of it, but it's good enough for people to say like, oh, that looks like a nice place to hang out. And find out yourself. But
down to the quarter juices that they give out there, because those are definitely from Harlem. Let me tell you.
And I was just about to ask, like, I did not know that they were called the Nutcracker. So
no, I think that was the flavor one that she had. Not all of them are called a Nutcracker.
Okay. Yeah, because I was wondering, I was like, what are those called? DC, we got the O Cup. If you go down New Orleans and stuff like that, you got, the hand grenade and all that other stuff. So every city has their their marquee drink. But I've had that before, but I was like, I did not know the name of it. So I was like, is that called the Nutcracker? But yeah, you're right. It probably is the flavor of it. But yeah, this is what I thought this episode was more like a love letter to the residents of Harlem, which, if they filmed in Harlem and, they obviously had to shut it down for production and stuff like that, I guess it is one of those like, hey, this is for you all. My only issue is that it's in the middle of the season. And considering the momentum that it picked up last episode, considering that the first 2 episodes were really episodes that weren't the most catchiest, but, they did what they did. I just feel like this was not the place to put this episode, because this episode really didn't give us much towards character arcs, season arcs. It just was like almost a filler episode to an extent. And I wasn't able to really confidently say this episode drove any narrative, storylines, or anything from the previous episode. So while I did not dislike this episode, I didn't love it because it just didn't fit from a lot of the momentum that we had from last week. So it's weird because I don't know if I've seen a show that has done this before, has put like a supreme filler episode in a first season as if like it already had, like a loyal fan base or, a major star that's going to completely keep people invested into it. So this is a stunt to me, if you ask me, by putting this episode here. I mean, obviously we're going to continue to cover it, but like I couldn't imagine somebody else was just picking this show up and they got to this episode and was like, all right, what's the point? Like I don't know. So that's just my quick and initial reaction to this episode.
Nigeria quickly put on his critic hat.
I was like,
he put that joke on in heartbeat.
Right, we're like waiting to take turns. It's like
I knew better. Hey, I was like, I'm just gonna let him cook. I'm gonna let him cook here.
All right, but you all. Let's start with Jasmine. We'll start with you too. Like, what do you think upon watching this episode? And then we're gonna get into some other deeper things. But what was your quick reaction and thoughts to this episode?
I mean, I thought that it was going to present more to the characters, like you mentioned. It was more so like the environment that everybody was in. It was just kind of a little lag. That's how I felt like they were going to the club. They were just trickling to different scenes. But I was just kind of like, all right, where's the point? Where's the action? At first, even the first scene with the whole Renee thing, I thought like the initial interaction that she had with what's his name, Jason. For some reason I thought that it was presenting the past, like when everything was good, because she was all happy. So I was like, are we going back to the past when things were good? But apparently it is like they're pretending to make things work for the divorce to happen. So I was kind of lost a little bit in the beginning. I'm not even gonna lie. I don't know about everybody else, but that's
you're not the only one. Trust
I
me.
was outside looking. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, wow, everything's good. They're just sitting down, vibing. And I'm like, oh, wait, no, the divorce is happening. Apparently, she found a place for the guy.
Apparently it's the word that's going to be used a lot today. Amaya?
So, yeah.
I thought it was a preview to the unraveling. So like all the stories had already been set up the first 3 episodes, and I felt like this was just a preview to what was going to like the unraveling of each one, right? So like now Whitney's feeling even more guilty as she looks at the save the date, and she's getting her head wrapped for the wedding, and Sondi is, they were trying to avoid not getting kicked out or not getting penalized, and that shit is unraveling, right? So everybody's story is unraveling at this point. I think that's what I felt once the ending of the episode came out. I was like, okay, so it's a bunch of unraveling, which is cool, but I do feel like it did lack something, some energy, some sort of like pow factor. But at least I can see where the turns are happening in each individual storyline, so I'm not mad at it.
Okay, Lucas, I'm gonna just throw a little question to you first. What genre? No, you got it. I just want to know what genre would you put this show in?
Oh God, it's clearly a comedy. It's a dramatic comedy. That's what this is. This is a dramatic comedy. Unfortunately, it's light on a drama at times. They take the lighthearted approach with it, so at times it can come across as silly in moments where it should be taken more seriously because it'll give you a deeper impact on these characters. So I said, let me put my critic hat on. So the issue with this episode is very simple here. When you attempt to make an episode where you're giving love to a historically Black place, you have to really dive deep into the culture of it. And instead, they gave you hints of the culture of it. When you give people hints of the culture of it, people feel cheated.
Yeah,
I would have loved to have this episode could have just been Whitney and her going to find the garments for her wedding, and that could have been an entire episode unto itself. The whole relationship with Anderson and
Ella.
Could have been an episode within themselves. The whole thing with the school finding out, again, an episode unto itself. Renee and Jake, like it was a bunch of things where they said we need to give each character time, and you didn't, because when you do that, you kind of overshadow Harlem, which you say this is like a love letter to Harlem type of an episode. So it makes me, as someone thinking critically about it, and when I compare this to other shows, I think of the episode, and unfortunately I know this is a bad comparison to make because this show is new and this other show has been on for years, but it reminded me of last season's episode of Insecure when they did like a love letter to Compton, and they were doing everything around it, and they knew like in the end you can do the characters, you can have all of that, but you really got to highlight the community because that's what people will care the most about. And that was the flaw in this episode, along with it feeling too filler because you kept on bouncing around and you didn't need to bounce around. It feels like the show is attempting to rush through stuff to get to the harder stuff. And sometimes, hell of a comparison here, sometimes it's better to go slow before we get to the pounding. Then that way, everything else goes better.
Oh boy,
that's where they're messed up with this episode. But in the end, it's still not a bad episode because Renee, she carries this episode.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Man, she has separated herself from every other person on this show.
Character or actress?
Her character has separated himself from everyone on the show. Matter of fact, as an actress, she separated herself from everyone on the show. She is slowly but surely becoming the star of this show. And it's because she's doing the scene stealing stuff. And that's what you got to always be careful when you have those supporting characters, because they'll come in and steal everyone's scene. Whenever she shows up, you know it's going to be something good.
Hey, okay, so there's a couple of things I want to add to that. First of all, I've seen other people compare this show to Insecure, and they've been calling it a combination of Insecure and Sex and the City, Insecure and something else. But like, I have not.
That's because it's black people.
Oh, for sure. But I have not seen similarities to Insecure until this episode, which even this is still even amount reach to it being that. Yeah. But yes, people say like black show with women and they got relationships and that's the same and blah, 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 blah. There's no comparing at all.
Remember when they used to compare Empire and Power?
Oh yeah, that is exactly the same. Oh, yeah. That's the comparison here. Exactly. That's exactly the comparison here.
Yeah, this is not the same type of show. This is something that people can get into. And a bigger question would be at this point, especially for the audience here listening, are you all getting into this show? Yeah. Is this show grabbing you? Because I think that's the key part that we all need to focus on here, especially Stars has to focus on. They did a beautiful part at the beginning of this episode where Renee was walking by and the guys was playing basketball and then they panned up and the show was on the backboard.
Yeah, that's dope.
Where's that promotion to prompt this show? Yeah. So has the show grabbed you, or do most people even know this show exists?
Yeah, you know what? And not to mention those little scenes that they've been doing for each of these episodes thus far, they make for good commercials, man. Yeah. And I will say that, you know, advertisements on social media has been proven an effective way of marketing, but old school commercials are still key. And if they could get back to that and doing something catchy like that, I mean, the first opening scene of this is definitely will catch your eyes. Like, oh, she's styling and the guy's out in the court and oh, this is Harlem. Like, yeah, you know, everybody loves New York.
So her Yves Saint Laurent heels on. Yeah, I noticed that. Why I said, oh, look at her.
Again, fashion on this show is always top stellar. So I expect no different here. But you know what? Let's go to Renee. I think the first thing I want to address is this trio of trust thing that she brought up here. Obviously, this is between her and Whitney and Elle. And Renee clearly knew what's going on within the circle. She read the room. But it's still to me that I'm going back to last episode that she seems to want to be honest and upfront about things when it's convenient to her. Because her narrative pans out the entire episode. Like the psychology of this character has been very, very accurate or consistent, the entire time. And she is super self-centered. She is very accomplished in business-centric things or job and life around her. But when it comes down to relationships or anything of that sort, this is where she seems to, you know, and this is most people too, where it seems like there's a wrinkle in everything. But it is very honest. It's very weird to me that she talks about trust, but she's been so fake to me in everything. Because even when
you done found the character you don't like on this show. I mean, one of the women here, because I already know he don't like her now. He said it. She seems so fake.
Yes, she's the villain.
He did this. He does this on every show. I'm so used to it. He done picked his
maybe because her emotions are everywhere. Nigerian.
Well, fine if that's where her emotions are with Jason, but like she should still be like this with her girlfriends, and I feel like she has not, because even when Whitney is trying to consoling her, she's like, but look at me, I'm having issues too, you know. And this is like, oh, this is the moment where it becomes about you. Literally what I was thinking is what Whitney says, and I feel like Whitney, who's having real light, like here's the thing, we all know that it's Renee's fault that Whitney's in the predicament that she's in. So the fact that that she's like,
I'm not giving you that. I'm not giving I was waiting for one of y'all to say something. I'm not giving you that. That's absurd. Nobody told Whitney to drop them and spread them. You know, you were enticed. Somebody put the whiskey
temptation
under your nose and you went for it. That ain't got nothing to do with Whitney.
Bait and real.
Renee, that's all Whitney. And furthermore, I just need to say for those in the audience who are watching, I do not believe that Renee's character is a true Taurus. They fucked up the zodiac on that one. So we do not accept her on the Taurus team. And for all Taurus, when I say that.
Yeah, they set y'all up.
Renee is very discombobulated to me.
She reminds me of a tourist I know.
Her whole entire character for me is just very all over the place. She doesn't even know how to be. She cannot be for her friends right now because she don't even know how to be for herself. She's trying to fake the funk with her ex-husband, you know, trying to make it look nice. Like, you get in a divorce, girl, just get the goddamn divorce and move on, right? She's trying to save face. And when you save face, you're going to come off fake anyway because you're not even being authentic. She's not being authentic in what she's going through. So she's very just all over the place. She doesn't know how to be there for Whitney, but she also wants, in her own way, she's like saying nobody's here consoling me, but they were consoling her in the last episode when she fell on the goddamn floor. You know, so
she's seeking therapy.
She needs therapy. She needs to let go that this relationship, that this marriage is over. And when she can kind of come to peace with that and figure it out, because this is what, her third marriage, her second or third marriage at this point. Right. So the problem, obviously, as somewhere along the lines, is her. And so I don't think she's doing it intentionally, but I do think that she needs to focus on herself so she can be a better friend. She cannot be a better friend without being authentic to herself. So
we all know Nigeria hates her. Okay,
listen,
okay, listen, know that already.
She is such an enabler. She legitimately told Whitney that you're not a horrible person.
You're just unkind. Huh? She's unkind.
She's just it's just not kind. She told him.
But is she a horrible person though? That's the difference.
She's not.
No.
She was trying to make her friend.
She cheated on her husband. She was trying to make her friend
feel better, though.
You made a horrible decision. That doesn't make you a horrible person.
She cheated on her. First of all, she said, do not eat the apple that fell from the tree, but you can hold it if you want. I know you ain't ate in 10 years, but this hold is just in case. She eats it and then says, "Oh, yeah, you're not a bad person. You just made a mistake." But you led them to temptation. Like,
I'm happy. She doesn't know how to be a good friend.
I'm happy you ladies are here to witness this, because I have gone through this with him before. This reminds me of our whole conversation about Molly when we did Insecure, him not liking her. Same thing.
Listen, it's not my duty. I can lead you to the water, any kind of water.
Right. Oh man,
good water or bad water.
That trio of trust is crazy. You know what though? You're right though, because once Elle got that eggplant text, she just left her homegirl in the club. So like I see how this is in here.
She
like,
did her thing.
It's cutthroat. Yeah, look, women move in unison to the bathroom, but when that eggplant text come through, y'all just leave them in the club, huh? It was nothing but savages in the club that night, and y'all was just like, "Yeah, I gotta move, man." I'm not even gonna say bye. Like they just left her.
I was waiting for the goodbye. Yeah, usually you say goodbye to your friends. I'm rolling out.
No, you don't say bye.
Nah, that's not.
You can't even say that. She just moved, grab her off. Like, nope.
Because I'm starting not to understand what trust is. So I'm just going to look up the definition just in case I could be wrong. Okay, because this trio of trust thing, a firm belief in reliability, truth, ability, and strength of someone and something. I don't see where Renee fits in any of that right now.
Maybe just spilling the tea. Like maybe just giving the information.
The shade is real with Nigeria. That's what that is.
If you need tea, Javi got them. Because he clearly has all the tea when they were sitting there for brunch that day. Which I gotta say, that foursome of guys, it would be criminal if we didn't get more of them, because instantly for the 5 to 10 seconds that they were on, I was like, oh, this could be interesting. And they quickly robbed us of how charismatic they were. But I don't have nothing else more to say about Renee. So,
clearly you don't.
I'll mute myself.
You hate her. You hate her.
I don't.
But do you feel? Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say the trust that they have is a very different and unique. I don't feel like it's realistic, if I'm being honest.
Oh, thank you.
I'm considering my relationship with my girlfriends, and to me, that's just a weird dynamic all in itself. But I'm also a different type of person, so who I am is also plays a part in like how I am a friend to the women in my life.
Yeah, so I like Molly and I like Detective Rodriguez, Lucas. So shut the hell
No, you
up.
don't. No, you don't. No, you do not. You hate both of them. Now, Jazz, what about your circle of friends? Could this happen? Like a circle of trust? That's what I'm like.
I mean, they didn't really point out how Renee was prior to all of this chaos. Maybe she was a good friend prior to this. Maybe she's
That
just
is
unraveling because she's going through so much. Because I've had situations where I've had friends who mentally lost it because their sanity is gone and they were unstable. So it's like it's not really bringing any past clips of how she was prior during the marriage. I mean, obviously the marriage lasted for 3 years, I suppose, maybe the longest she's ever been with any of her marriages. Who knows?
And this is a man who broke her trust during the marriage. So we're seeing her react after her trust has been broken.
Right. Exactly.
So we don't know what type of person they you can do as many faces as you want to up there in that little corner.
I think you're both I think you're both right. It just sucks that it has to do with trust with her. But
they've been friends, and it looks like they've been friends for years. I mean, these group of girls have a bond of some sort. So if it was a trashy relationship, then as a friendship, then why would they have been so strong? And how could they even have a trio of trust? That wouldn't even exist.
It's funny how they got a trio of trust, but it's 4 of them. But we're not also going to talk about that either. Because
maybe Sondi is irrelevant.
Yeah.
Maybe Sondi's too judgy. Maybe Sondi's really judgy. What do you guys think? You think Sondi's judgy? Let's find out.
I don't. Here's what I think.
I want to know what signs are all these women, because we know Renee is not a Taurus.
Right.
That's a lie.
It ain't no Virgo.
She sounds like some Taurus people I know.
I'll say this about Sondi. This is the only thing I'll say personal about it. I feel like because Sondi's in school, that her friends just look at her different. Because I remember being in school and my friends were like, we're friends, but like I'm not in the crew because I'm like on leave essentially. And I feel like that's probably how they're treating her, where it's just like, oh, she's doing her education thing and whatnot. We don't want to distract
maybe
her.
She can't hold water.
Maybe she can't, but
how would she be the one that can't hold water when Renee literally is the one telling everybody's business?
Damn, you hate Renee. But Renee is he's not telling it to anyone outside the friend group. She's telling it in the friend group.
About the
Whitney. Elle told Renee
about Renee said she already knew because she could read the room. So don't get mad at the intuitiveness.
That sounds like a Taurus trait. Look at Renee.
Reading the room.
Look at
Reading
Renee.
the room.
Sounding more like a Taurus.
I'll be nice and say this though, that I mean Renee's character clearly is she is struggling. We said it last episode, and the fact that every time we see her, she is drinking, and I think that's how she's coping with it. And I think that and this is where I kind of want to throw to you all is that we see after the club scene where everybody has to kind of go back to reality, and that's how clubs are. Once you go to the club and it's all fun, you're getting drunk, you got to go back home somewhere and you're faced whatever it may be. You got kids, you got a significant other, or you're alone, or you're going back home with something. We saw the 4 ladies go back to different situations. And I think that when she's with her friends, she feels her best. When she's working, she feels her most confidence, and when the moments where she's in between, she's struggling, she's drinking to kind of console with it, to the point that she got what she wanted with Jason moving out. But when she got home, realized he was gone, she was like, wow, this is not the reality I wanted. So I think she is really internally something's combusting, and I think we're eventually going to see it go, but I don't know which way it's going. So
I think Jasmine put the nail on the head. I think she's struggling, and that's what we're seeing here.
Yeah,
we're seeing a character she can be there for her friends because that's a distraction.
Yeah.
So keep in mind, Whitney text
is the word.
I think she put Whitney text her as an emergency, and she showed up immediately.
Yeah.
Because it's a distraction from her life. Being nice to him was a distraction from everything else. When she got home from the club, is the realization like it's over. And there's nothing she could have done to fix it at that point. She's just like, it's over. She wasn't, she was trying to hold on to the illusion of it. And that's what we're going to see with this character moving forward, is when that illusion is gone, what's next?
Yeah.
Because if you look at it, all of them are living in some form of an illusion. As Amaya said, with this being an unraveling episode, the illusion with Sondi was her and Matt being together and no one knowing about it at the school. The illusion for Elle is that her and Anderson are just having sex and not getting back into a full-term relationship. For Whitney, the illusion is she loves Ola, which I don't believe she does. I believe he was something she was with because she's scared to venture out.
Or she didn't know any different.
Right.
So she knew.
That's all she knew. That's all she knew.
So I just want to quickly throw this out there to everybody and the listeners. Based on everybody and their dynamics back home, which couple situation seems to be the most promising? I mean, I think we're going to be revisiting this question over and over because we keep getting sprinkles of it going in different directions. I mean, last episode we could have easily said that Sondi and what's his name?
I keep on calling him Matt.
Matt. It is Matt.
Okay.
No, Sondi and Matt. Yeah. You could have easily said that that's the safest, and we knew at some point it was going to come to something, but we instantly see it happen, and they look to be in extreme turmoil. Like not just like oh man, we got a problem, let's handle it. They seem like, oh my god, this is it. But we'll go around real quick. But to everybody listening, which of these couple dynamics seems to be the most promising now? Because everything is going in all sorts of directions. So Maya, what's your thoughts?
None of them. None of them. I think it's, you know what, and honestly speaking, I wouldn't be mad at an ending like that because I don't think that we've ever had one. Right? Because that would teach people to focus on yourself. Because in reality, Whitney and Ola, right, like you said, she hasn't not that there's anything wrong with not having anything outside of that, like not knowing, but to a degree, do you really know who you are? Like, you've never lived on your own. There's so many different things that you get to do when you aren't with somebody for such a long period of time. And it works out for some people, and for other people it doesn't, right? But I think that she's going to come to the realization that she really wants to know who she is outside of him. I don't think she knows who that person is. But when it comes to Elle and Anderson, it's just like it's a shit show. Like, there's no conversation. Although, you know, Elle wants to say we're just friends with benefits. You can't be friends with benefits with somebody who broke your heart. Like, that's a tunnel for disaster. Like, to me, that doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? Sondi and Matt is just like, he had the right idea, and she was so bent on being afraid of what people might say that she possibly can risk losing both him and her, you know, her position at the school, right? So in the end, it's not really working out. And then, you know, Renee, of course, she's divorced, and now she's sitting at home twiddling her thumbs because she made an impulsive decision that probably is not working out for not the way she wanted to. I don't think that there was anything wrong with, and I think that goes to another point of like trusting your gut and your instinct and not being impulsive, but actually thinking about it. But if you're drinking as much as she's drinking and getting high, right, all the decisions are clouded. She has not made a decision when she's sober, right? And that's very telling. So for me, none of the answers.
I want to throw more ammunition for Nigeria to hate Renee.
She took the words right out of my mouth. I want to throw something back at you real quick. With Elle and Anderson, I mean, one thing that we've been saying about here is communication and transparency. What do they do when it seems to be communication, but it doesn't seem to be a level of compromise here? She's very adamant that this is just her getting off, and he thinks like we're getting back in there. Like, what do we make of this? I mean, like to really lay this out, what does this mean? Because this is a very complex situation that if you've been in, you understand. But if you haven't, then you're just like, I would say this ignorantly. Most people would say like, well, this is what guys want. But that's not what we're getting here. You know what I mean? So can you kind of make that situation all make sense?
I think that it's a dangerous game to play. It's like getting on a roller coaster and your seatbelt not fitting quite, but you want to hold it, right? And hope that your ass don't go up in the air and then drop out of it. I think it's just too risky. Like, again, when matters of the heart are involved, it is going to be it's like we're taking it back to Avengers where the sister has to like take what's his name? God damn it, what's his name? Whatever. They had to take the stone out of his head, right? And she goes,
okay.
Yeah, Wanda and Vision.
Right, there we go, Vision, right? And so it's too much intertwined for you to want to take out this little thing, right? How are you going to get to that
pretty
little
damn good analogy there?
Part? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. So I think it's a very dangerous game to play. And if you've ever been in a situation where I know I have, right, when your heart has already been with somebody, can it not be with that person? Yes, but does it take work? You turn into a whole different person to become the person whose heart is no longer attached to the person you wanted to be attached to. That's too much work for me.
I want to throw one more question at you. Now, Elle again seems to be happy with this, and Anderson seems to just be going with it. You said somebody's not going to be happy. Which one of them is this going to happen to first?
Him.
I think it's going to happen to him. Yeah.
Him, for sure. Not her. Because her feelings already been hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, he left. So it's like, it made it seem like he had nothing to miss, really. I mean, he tried to call, like, apparently, right? Or, but she never picked up. So he left for how many years? 2 years? So she's just like, okay, I'm back for the eggplant. And then after that, it's like, I'm just not really trying to get attached to it.
Yeah. I think it's going to end up bad for both of them because he's going to probably feel like she did it intentionally.
Ooh.
Right, as get back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ooh. Jasmine, I'm going to give it to you, but if I'm calculating the math here, it looks like we're going to see like the revenge of the men in the next few episodes because Ola is still up the bat soon to find out his truth. God. And Anderson seems like he's about to get a hard reality here too. Yeah. I guess we don't know what to make of Jason because Jason just is happy now because he's like, you want this? I'm gone. And he left the note and left the TV on. Hope we paying that electric bill.
Watch all the rest of the shows, all the saved DVR shows. My petty ass would have deleted them right after watching them too.
Yeah.
Right, that's what I was thinking.
You ain't watching none of these shows.
And then obviously Matthew, who puts his profession. I mean, he loves Sondi, but his profession is like a 1B easily. So I don't know, man. I think we might get a very, very deep masculine episode at some point that shows the other side of things that just been kind of foreshadowing for a while. But Jasmine, let me give it to you now. Of these couples and situations, like, what do you make of them now? Where do they go?
It's just so much uncertainty, I think. But if I had to choose one couple that could be the most promising of them all, I could say maybe Sondi and Matt. Maybe out of all, I mean, it's less risky. It's just less risky. Yeah, okay, they had a relationship behind the whole university, but can their relationship still be paired? Yeah, the love is still there. It's not like they're fighting, with each other. I just feel like that might be the safest couple as far as choosing what would be the most promising. The other ones are a little more chaotic, I feel, if I had to. I'll
say this to speak in regards to Matthew. There's a lot of people who profession makes them, and when you don't have that, nothing else matters.
Especially
it was his fault. Hold on, he was the one talking about some. It's okay, let it be out there.
For sure, so but he is bluffing. He is bluffing.
He wanted to do it the right way. Remember, he was very specific.
Oh yeah, said, you're right.
Take it to the board.
Yeah.
Out with our
I forgot about that. And that means he's about to play the blame. That's why he said get home.
Oh my God.
He is about to put her in a doghouse right now.
Because if they would have done it the way he wanted to do it,
it would have never
been no issue.
She kissed him while she was under the influence. So that's what made
was a magical
her do
kiss.
That
I knew that was like
we know we did it. We know we look at that. Look at that. Look at God. Won't he do it? Won't he do it?
I am most concerned about their relationship, to be honest.
Yeah,
he just seems so straightforward with like, I mean, all of them have their pros and cons, but like, I don't know. But well, let's kind of wrap up.
Me, I could have gave a quick answer to mine.
Oh, for sure. I just
Cool.
want to say
The
one
most
thing.
quick though. The most promising couple to me is Elle and Anderson because they had sex to one of the best love songs I've heard in a year. I love that.
That is
Sir
not a love
and
song.
Sabrina Claudio. Hey, it is. I just want you. I just want to. And you leave. That's a beautiful love song.
I gotta add it to my playlist, Lucas.
And
Hey,
very
y'all,
telling that that's the
to go.
song they chose to play while they were having sex. That's extremely telling.
I'm done with.
All right, y'all. Well, I'm gonna have Lucas' cell phone number in the description below. So if you trying to forward him your favorite playlist, and guaranteed he'll hit you back.
If that's on there, trust me.
We're
By the
putting
way,
Lucas
too,
on the market.
I'm not ending this review without saying that I saw that blue motorcycle that they tried to have in this episode and tried to cloak it as something else.
Hey,
I know death when I see death.
Exactly. When she sipped it and said, "I want to walk home," I said, "Me too." I have been there. I've been there.
When the moment she said, "I don't know what to call it," I'll say, "Oh yes, you do. You just afraid to admit what it is."
And just a shout out to the very, very sexy bartender. Oh man, I love her. A thick woman like Jesus.
Ooh, the bartender? Oh yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, don't order you a back that ass up then.
Hey, that's
exactly. Back that ass up.
Right.
It's so many. I ain't gonna tell you the Jasmine Sullivan song that popped in my head when she got on that screen. But just know,
oh my god,
her and Ari Lennox, just that song popped in my head. When I saw her, I said, "Now look,
okay.
Look now."
Wait,
don't you got Bible study after this?
I sure do.
Some of that.
I sure do. I'm gonna pray on it too. I'm gonna pray on it. I swear I am. I swear I'm gonna pray on it. I swear I'm gonna pray on it. I'm telling you.
All right, Birdie. Anywho, anything else I want to add before we wrap up tonight?
Nope. Let's see what the next episode entails.
Yeah,
give the show a chance.
What horoscope these women are.
Virgos, let it be not.
Yeah, let us know if y'all are interested in this show. Has this show grabbed y'all attention? That's the key part here. Everybody says support everything that's black, but we need to be honest. Is this a black show that we can pass on? Or is this something that you're willing to stick around as it grows?
Yeah. And I'll 1B that by saying that if you are losing interest, what does the show need to do to keep your interest or to bring you back in or to go tell your friends? What does it have to do to accomplish that? But, we'll be here reviewing it each and every week. We'll get through the season, giving our honest and truthful thoughts and obviously dissecting each episode down for you all. Drop in the comments and let us know your thoughts about this episode 4, I Love Harlem. And as always, we'll be back each and every Sunday after the conclusion of it releasing. I wouldn't say air, but it's streaming. But once it concludes at 1 p.m. Eastern, 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
12:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Exactly. It's not even an hour, 30 minutes. But you can catch our reviews after the conclusion of each episode. We appreciate you all's love and support and conversation, and we see you all next week.
Love, peace, and hair grease.
Bye.
I'm gonna stay my ass here.